What are we talking about here? If you were out of line in the WWE locker room, you were dealing with Taker.
Sure.
If you're out of line you're dealing with Orange Cassidy, and he's going to do what?
Matt Hardy on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, he compared Orange Cassidy to the Undertaker. This is what he said. He said, in some ways, Orange Cassidy to Tony Khan at this stage right now reminds me of the relationship between Vince McMahon and the Undertaker. Taker was like Vince's go-to guy, a guy that Vince knew could go out and get the job done. On top of that, those guys were both great wrestlers but played outlandish and over-the-top gimmicks. That's a crazy similarity there. We'll start off with someone who is currently competing in the business and has rubbed shoulder in the backstage. Both of you have, but you as a wrestler, EC3, with the Undertaker. What do you think about this comparison when it comes to Orange Cassidy and the Undertaker? Any validation? Any validation?
Yeah, I think Matt kind of validated it by the comparison in his opinion. You know, personally, Orange Cassidy and Undertaker are complete opposites, as is Tony Khan and Vince McMahon. But in theory, the comparison is it's a right-hand man who has an outlandish character, who delivers for the boss what he wants to see, and he could be put in there with anybody to deliver what he does at a high level. So I can see that comparison. Would I make it? No. But under those contexts, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Vince, what do you think?
Bro, read it to me one more time.
Yep. Orange, in some ways, Orange Cassidy to Tony Khan at this stage right now reminds me of the relationship between Vince McMahon and The Undertaker. Taker was like Vince's go-to guy, a guy that Vince knew could go out and get the job done. On top of that, those guys were both great wrestlers, but played outlandish and over-the-top gimmicks. There's a crazy similarity there.
Yeah, I don't think he's comparing the Undertaker to Orange Cassidy. I think he's comparing the relationship. I think that's and I wouldn't know. I don't know what that relationship is. So I would believe what Matt is saying. I don't think he's making the comparison. I don't think he's comparing Tony Khan and Vince McMahon or Orange Cassidy to the Undertaker. I think he's comparing the relationship.
Yeah, I don't think he's saying Orange Cassidy is similar to The Undertaker.
No.
I think it's probably right-hand man type of relationship. Now, here's my deeper question when it comes to this. We have AEW with Orange Cassidy, super over person, really, really solid in the ring, really cool character. What is your thought, Vince, on basically with Vince McMahon, you had The Undertaker being the guy, the go-to guy. Orange Cassidy being the go-to guy in AEW. Does that say anything about AEW and Tony Khan, or is that not?
I don't know exactly what you mean. What do you mean, Chris?
As far as go ahead, Ace.
I think he's trying to compare maybe a personality of an inherited billionaire playing with toys compared to a man who, sort of self-made himself and put everything on the line to build his empire and really put in, say what you want about Vince, but he's probably one of the craziest, hardest workers ever in the history of this business to do what he's done and create what he's created and remain at a high level. Like he's a different kind of human. He's a different dude, driven, bloodthirsty, he'll sell his family out just to say he was right. So I think the comparison's kind of like one's soft and one's hard as hell. That's what
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was getting at. I mean, and the thing is, you have The Undertaker being the go-to guy for WWE. I think the legacy of The Undertaker really speaks highly of WWE as a whole. Now, Orange Cassidy,
Undertaker's being a competent human ass kicker, like stern, disciplined, locker room kind of leader, almost looking into.
Yeah.
But like somebody you would not want to fight for real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas Orange, I don't know, maybe he can beat me up. Probably not. Nobody can kick my ass. But in a hypothetical world, you know, he's probably not the hard as hell, tough as nails, stern, sitting there with his dip cup, you know, monitoring the locker room, keeping order, you know, being the law, so to speak.
Does that represent a softer, you know, like that's what I'm getting at. Like that's,
it does.
Like you know what I mean? Like
environment, the environment.
Softer, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, you see what I'm saying now, Vince?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you
bro? I mean, what are we talking about here? If you were out of line in the WWE locker room, you were dealing with Taker.
Sure.
If you're out of line you're dealing with Orange Cassidy, and he's gonna do what? I mean, come on, bro.
Go.
Please.
Whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Play on his phone, or
he's gonna put his hands in his pants. Come on.
Yeah, Orange delivers exactly who he is and the personality he is, and he's over as hell.
Yeah, he's good, man.
Anything bad about that? Not one bit.
I agree.
Like, even to an extent where there's only going to be one. There can only be one. But what he does is as realistic as phoniness can be. If that makes sense.
Yep. I totally understand. It's interesting. I mean, like if you're thinking like locker room, like this is my right-hand man that I want to go ahead and like lead the pack. You know what I mean? Like Orange Cassidy, really? I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, personally, I mean, he could be a completely different person backstage that is very serious and is a leader. I mean, I don't know, but
it's no discredit to Orange. I don't really know him, but if Undertaker was in the AEW locker room, I don't think there would be constant strife. I don't think there would have been a top guy slap fight with people biting each other and tossing chairs at each other.
Yep.
I don't think all that chaos would unfold and everyone's running around with their hair on fire. That would never get to that point.
No, never, bro. Never.
Yep.